Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to the second episode of the Red, White, and Bills debate show. We got one repeat contestant in Dolphin Keith. He wants to defend his crown, even though him and Jake basically tied, but he was a winner in everybody's eyes. And then you got first-time competitor, Go Bills podcast creator and owner Brett McDurphy in the building. And how it's going to go, I know because they got the summit at 8 o'clock. Usually we get 1 minute per question, but we're going to do 45 seconds. And then the chat is going to vote who won the round based off of who had the best take. No matter if you're a Bills fan, no matter if you're a Dolphins fan, you got to be as realistic as possible of who had the best take. And we're not here to hurt people's feelings, but whoever had the best take is going to win this event. As Mike said, this is going to be a slugfest.
Oh, can't wait.
He does a needed man this week on all kinds of shows, much like you are, Sean. Yep, Dolphins week. It's a big, big week. I'd be scared if I was going against the young gun. All right. So, full disclosure, I wrote these in week 2, but week 2 didn't work out. So, I might have to tweak some of these questions. But you know how it goes, Keith. I'm thinking of a number between 1 and 10, and whoever gets closest we'll get to decide if they go first or second for the first round. Keith, what's your number?
Give me number 8.
Brett, what's your number?
I'm going to go with 4.
And it was 5, my number. So, Brett, you get the choice. Do you want to go first and have the advantage in round 1? Or do you want Keith to go first so you can think about the question more?
Well, obviously, I'm going to choose this. I'm going to choose to defer the option and let Keith go first.
All right. So the first question, it was about Bill Belichick and the Dolphins in week 2, but I changed it to, how do you feel about the Miami Dolphins putting up 70 points on the Denver Broncos, as far as not like, obviously it was a great performance, but as far as how does it look to the rest of the league as far as respect to the organization? Keith, you get 45 seconds, and your time starts now.
I don't know that it moves the needle all that much, if I'm being honest with you, Sean. I mean, everybody already knew the Dolphins had a dynamic offense. Everybody already knew that the Dolphins could put up points with the best of them. But, you know, and everybody already knew that the Broncos weren't all that great of a team. They were 0-2 going into the Dolphins game. They lost to two teams that aren't viewed in NFL circles as all that great. So, you know, you put up 70 points, that's obviously going to put teams on notice, but it's not going to move the needle as much as you might think it will. And it shouldn't move the needle as much as you might think it will.
All right. Brett, same question. How do you feel about the Dolphins win? What did you find putting up 70 points disrespectful? Does it move the needle for you as far as what you thought about the Dolphins offense? And you got 45 seconds. Your time starts now.
It didn't bother me whatsoever. I wasn't worried about that. It didn't put the Dolphins on notice. And I think that the Bills are going to, in the rest of the league, are going to find an answer to figure out how to stop Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, even though they did it without Jalen Waddle. Good numbers, but it really came down to the running backs for the Dolphins, and they did a good job, but it didn't move the needle for me whatsoever. I think that Buffalo and the rest of the league are going to find an answer, which is going to have to be press man coverage and then putting 8 in the box. Sean, you're muted, buddy.
All right, chat. This is where you guys come in. I'm going to give 20 seconds. Put in the chat who you think won the round. And when 20 seconds is up, that's it. And we'll see who won round 1. If nobody answers, then we'll just move on, I guess. All right, we got 1 vote for Keith. See if we got 2 people watching, so let's see. All right. 20 seconds have passed. Keith wins this round. So Keith gets 1 point. All right, wonderful. Second question. this definitely changes after this past week. Who is the best quarterback in the AFC East? Brett, you got 45 seconds. Time starts now.
Well, right now, I would say it has to be Josh Allen. I think that he has represented Buffalo over the last 2 weeks and really done a good job of taking care of the football. Even though he did have that one interception against the Commanders, it was an interception where he threw the ball deep down the field on a 3rd and 18, did a good job of getting the ball deep. It was pretty much a punt. I would say you could wash it out, but he's done a good job of taking care of the football. And he's done it behind a really good offensive line as well that's helped him. And he looks more comfortable out there on the field. But you could say very well Tua deserves a little bit more credit. But I got to say right now it still comes down to Josh Allen because he's efficient with not only his passing but his feet as well.
All right. Keith, same question to you. 45 seconds. Your time starts now.
I'm going to go ahead and agree with Brett on this one, Sean. Josh Allen is still the best quarterback in the AFC East. His arm strength, his speed with his legs, he's done it over a much longer period of time as well. He's been able to stay healthy. He's been able to stay consistent. And, you know, you don't really have that with Tua. Tua's playing at an MVP level right now, but Dolphins fans are going to hold their collective breaths every time Tua gets hit, whereas with Josh Allen, that's not necessarily going to be the case. You know, he gets hit, he can take those hits, he can bounce back up, and Tua's not going to be able. Tua hasn't done that yet, and until he does, you can't really put him up there.
Love it. Second round done. Chat. Who wins this round? Was it Brett or was it Keith? 20 seconds to respond, and drop them in the chat. Who won this round? Good job, contenders. Everyone's doing pretty good. Toss up for me. You got to vote, Mike. That's why you're here, baby. You got some help. You got my friend Jello, and you got Matt Chatter, my other friend up in here. What do you guys think? Who won that round? I'll give it until someone responds. Because we can't have nobody not respond. All right, we got one for Brett. I'll give another 10 seconds.
I got to say, though, for me, that's a toss-up, too, because I think Keith answered the question very well. I still think I answered the question pretty well, too, but, I understand the toss-up, though.
Dolphins. It's not about – oh, are you saying Keith? But the time already passed. The time already passed. You missed the time.
Gets it.
We got 1-1 right now. How are we going to stop them, Matt? I'll take a quick break, and we'll just mention they have been limited before, and – We'll get into the Dolphins film later this week, hopefully. But it's been proven that if you press up on guys like Hill and Waddle and knock them off the block, it makes it harder for Tua to get the ball off quick enough. And that's what's really been helping them is getting the ball out with less than 2 seconds. So the offensive line doesn't have a chance to get beat, and Tua's able to get the ball out quick and efficient, and it's really helping them succeed. Which is credit to Mike McDaniel and Tua for running the offense. But it's definitely can be stopped. We're just going to have to see what happens. But, all right. Third question. So this was supposed to be after week 2, but which team should panic the most after week 3? Keith, you got 45 seconds. Your time starts now.
I think the Cowboys should actually start panicking. That loss to the Cardinals was horrific on every level, and they lost Teron Diggs right before that game. Their offensive line's banged up. They weren't able to really get anything going on offense until the end of that game. Dak Prescott hasn't looked like himself since that ankle injury, if we're being honest about it. The Cowboys were one of my darling picks to make the Super Bowl this season because of all the talent they have on that team. But you know what? That Cardinals loss should really put them on notice that they needs to take a long, hard look in the mirror and either be better or maybe they'll just fade away.
Interesting take. I like it. Brett, 45 seconds. You're up. Time starts now.
So I'm going to go another direction, but with another NFC team, and I'm going to go with the Chicago Bears based off of what we've seen so far from them.
you have a GM in Ryan Pace who's come in. He's pretty much rebuilt this whole entire roster, done a good job of doing that. They brought in Tremaine Edmonds. They brought in a ton of other guys. And it's pretty much coming down to Matt Eberflus, who is going to have to take over this defense after a defensive coordinator leaves the team. And then not only that, but you have Justin Fields, who looks awful out there. And this was supposed to be MVP Justin Fields and the most betted on player in the NFL. So I got to say it's going to be the Chicago Bears. They have to be panicking right now because they have to find a new coach at the end of the season.
All right, guys. 25 seconds. Who won that round? Please vote. I would appreciate it. It's knotted up at 1-1 right now. After 25 seconds, all voting stops. All right. Please. Keith, because Cowboys suck. All right. And our late friend Macis was a Cowboys fan. So Keith gets the win here. And we're moving on to the fourth question. So this was about the Raiders, but we can say this with the Commanders now. Did the Bills win because of their skill or because we played a lesser opponent? This was supposed to be about the Raiders, but you can use the same analogy. Did we win because of who we are, or were the Commanders just not the team that everybody thought they were? Brett, 45 seconds. Your time starts now.
I think the Buffalo Bills played a really good performance out there on the field, but I will say the offense of the Commanders is not what we thought they were. It's Eric Bieniemy has a lot of work to do with this offense. It's going to take a little while, but they haven't had a lot of competition to go up against. They went up against the Broncos before. And then in week 1, I'm trying to remember who they went up against, but it was another team that wasn't very good as well. So it really comes down to the Bills took control of the game, and they did a good job of putting on a show and saying that the Commanders aren't who we thought they were. So I'm going to say the Commanders aren't the team that we thought they were. That's what it comes down to.
All right, Keith, same question to you. I know you're a Dolphins fan, but we appreciate you answering the Bills questions. Time starts now.
I'm going to actually go in the opposite direction here, Brett. And I'm going to say this was a Bills victory because I think the Commanders are a very underrated team. Their defense is legit. Sam Howell was playing pretty well, prior to this Bills game. The wheels just kind of came off. That doesn't happen by accident. That happens because the Bills made the wheels come off. Brian Robinson's a very good running back. Terry McLaurin's a very good wide receiver. Jahan Dotson is an up-and-coming wide receiver. And all of those guys were shut down by and large because of what the Bills did to them. So, I think there are brighter days ahead for the Commanders. They just really ran into a Bills team that was ready for them.
Gotcha. I agree with both of you to an extent. And we're going to start the voting now, 25 seconds. And Matt Chatter says Brett. Let's see the rest of the voting. I do get Brett's point, and I also get Keith's point. I'm leaning more towards Keith and for the point. I mean, I'm not going to vote, but I do think that their defensive front is probably the best in the NFL, and they got shut down. Sam Howell, I never thought highly of him yet because he's still a young quarterback. So I kind of expected that offensively, Brett, because Bills suck. Okay, so Brett,
fair enough.
So yeah. Brett wins this one. It's tied up 2 apiece. Next question.
No, I will say this though before Sean, I get your point, Keith, because I'm taking the offense of the Commanders, and that's what I'm saying. The offense of the Commanders is not what we thought they were. The defense is legit. Don't get me wrong. Buffalo just stopped them this past week, so
yeah,
I understand your point as well.
Wonderful. Brett got the dub. No, your vote came in late, Mike. You only get 25 seconds to vote. So, but Keith, Brett had two points for that anyway. So, you gotta be on your toes, Mike.
You gotta be quicker than that, Mike.
This was about week 2 as well. But did Allen turn the page as far as being smarter with the football in week 2 from week 1, or we could say week 3 as well, or was it all just a facade. Keith, you're up. 45 seconds. Time starts now.
Why can't it be a little bit of both, Sean? You know, Josh Allen is what he is. Josh Allen is going to be in your first show. Jake said it. He's Brett Favre with legs. That's what Josh Allen is. He's always going to be a risk taker. He's always going to be a gunslinger. He's always going to take chances that maybe you don't necessarily want him to take, but that's who he is, and you don't want to take that out of him. So while he's been careful and he's, made a conscious effort to be more careful, he's always going to have that gunslinger mentality where he's just going to rip it from time to time. And you got to take the good with the bad when it comes to Josh Allen.
Love it. Brett, you're up. Time starts now.
The biggest thing I saw from this game against the Commanders and the game before against the Raiders was Josh Allen being very smart with the football in terms of taking what the defense gave him. And you saw this past week against the Commanders when Josh Allen was flushed out of the pocket and he decided to go for a run. And you saw him actually slide on that play. It was a great play from him. He was able to get the first down, slid, and he also not only did that, he threw the ball away. So this is Josh Allen maturing. He's becoming a better pocket quarterback, and he's also being able to use his eyes to see the field and visualize the field, hit his playmakers while also using his legs when he needs to.
Bro, you got to be careful. You're going a little bit over time. I don't want to have to ding you. You got to be mindful. I might increase it to 1 minute the last few questions. Okay. Chat, I'm going to give Mike an extra. I'll give it 45 seconds. Got to vote here. Time starts now. You got one for Keith. 45 seconds. We don't know if this is a permanent mature. I feel the same way, Matt Cheddar. I feel like he's been smarter, but he's always going to still like that. I don't agree with, it was just a punt, so it's fine against the Commanders. You never want to do stuff like that. I still think it's just not smart football. So I think he's been better, but Keith.
Where's the Bills love? Come on, guys.
And you got another one for Dolphin Keith. So it looks like it's Keith swept that round. Come on, Brett. You're still in it, man. You got only 1 point down. We got 5 questions left. Okay. So this is a bad question for this week, but Brett, is the Bills D-line a concern without Von Miller? Your time starts now.
I think the Bills proved that they are a much better team with this offensive line compared to last year. You bring in guys like Leonard Floyd. You also have a better Ed Oliver this week. You saw him get 1.5 sacks. Leonard Floyd, 2 sacks last week. And then you also have a mixture of you have Daquan Jones, who's getting an incredible amount of pressure rating against him. And then you also bring in Greg Russo, who hasn't gotten to the quarterback, but also is creating pressure. So I got to say, I'm not worried about this defensive line. They are doing a much better job, and it's only going to get better when Von Miller gets out there on the field.
All right. You made
45 seconds on the dot.
All right. Keith, I agree. Brett, I agree. They absolutely performed awesome, amazing, everything we needed to see. Keith, you're up. Time starts now.
Well, I agree with Brett. I think the Bills' defensive line is still formidable without Von Miller. They were always going to be formidable without Von Miller. And adding in a pass rusher like Leonard Floyd, okay, maybe he's not Von Miller's caliber, but he's still a very good defensive lineman, a very good pass rusher. So, once Von Miller comes back, they obviously become more formidable. But right now they're playing at a really high level, and they're kind of all making up for the loss of Von Miller, of what he brought to that defense. And to their credit, they didn't do that last year.
Right on time. Great points from both competitors. Chat, you got 45 seconds. Is Brett going to tie it up, or is Keith going to take a 2-point lead? And then Brett's got some work to do. Na, 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 na. All right, we got one for Brett. He could have one with Tim Settle shade. Point to Brett. So we got 2 for Brett. No, they didn't do that at all last year. Yeah, near the end, they really just disappointed everybody. That's why I was worried about it preseason. I was like, are they gonna show up?
Rightfully so.
Yeah, but here we go.
Yeah.
We got a few seconds left. Bills don't need bald 40-year-old ring chase. Okay. Well, Brett gets that point. My buddy Jello there's a Seahawk fan and one of my brothers from the Army. Yeah, that was a good battle. That round was a good battle. Okay, well, this is an obvious one now, but we'll do it anyway. Keith, are the Jets back in the basement? You got 45 seconds. Your time starts now.
Well, I guess it's easy to say yes, especially after their game against the Patriots. I think the Jets are still a better team than they demonstrated against the Patriots. They're not on the level with the Bills and Dolphins. Don't get me wrong, but they're still their defense is still formidable. Their running game is still very good. But losing Aaron Rodgers, there's something missing with that team, and Zach Wilson's not accounting for it. Zach Wilson's not making up the difference here. So the Jets are much closer to the basement than they are at the top with the Dolphins and Bills.
Love it. And to repeat the question for my boy Baker Jello, he didn't hear it. Are the Jets back into the basement? And sorry, Brett, your time starts now.
So I'm going to take a little step further, and I'm going to say that the Jets are a team that needs a lot more work not only at the quarterback position, but the whole entire roster. They need to make some changes. They are not at the bottom of the AFC East. I still think that the Patriots are probably the team that needs the most work. Even though they did beat the Jets, the Patriots just need to do a little bit more work. But that quarterback room, I just don't know if it's going to be Zach Wilson. That's the answer. And I think that the Jets made a mistake by letting Geno Smith go. And that's going to be one of the biggest mistakes that they made, because Geno Smith is having a career year again in Seattle, and he's only going to get better as the time comes about.
That was my fault. I was the timer got all weird on me.
No worries. I knew it was coming up.
All right, there we go. Okay, 45 seconds. Chat, help me out. Who won that round? Tied it up at 3 apiece. You're just trying to earn my vote. Keith, on this one, how do we get on Geno Smith? Because Jello's a Seahawk fan. Mike, easy win. Lost by Brett. Mac Jones way better than Jets. Point Keith. See, man, Brett, you gotta be careful. Little tidbits can lose you the point.
Yeah, but you never know. I mean, I could have somebody coming out there.
Keith, all right.
He hasn't even gone. Keith hasn't even gone, guys.
No, I went first that round,
Keith
Brett.
went first. Man, Brett's not even paying attention to Keith. All right. That's all right, Brett. You got time. 4-3. All right. Well, this is an even better question this week. Are the Finns AFC East favorites after week 3? It was after week 2. But, Brett, you got 45 seconds. Are the Finns the favorites in the AFC East? Time starts now.
As of right now, I would say yes, just based off of the fact that they have the 3 wins. But I got to say, though, Buffalo did in week 1, they did drop the ball. They could have done a lot better of a job. If they would have won that game against the New York Jets, then I would say absolutely the Bills are the favorite to win. But going into week 4, you can say that the Miami Dolphins are the better team right now based off of their record. Now, the Bills can prove them wrong this week, and I believe that they're going to prove them wrong, especially being at home against the Miami Dolphins. And that's where the team is going to have to really decide, in the AFC East is going to be decided based off of this game. And it's going to come down to later in the year, but it's going to show right now who's the better team.
All right. Keith, 45 seconds. Time starts now.
Well, Brett, I would say that if you thought the Bills were going to prove that the Dolphins are the second best team in the AFC East, then they would do it this week. And so, yeah, the Bills are the better team. The Bills are still the better team than the Dolphins. They're a more complete team. They have a better defense. This is going to be a tough game. And, if you ask me this question after this week, maybe I'll have a different answer. But for right now, I'm going to give the same answer I've been giving all preseason, all throughout the early portion of the season. The Bills are the kings of the AFC East until proven otherwise. This is going to be a big test for both teams. And I don't know who's going to come out on top. But right now, I'm going to say the Bills.
All right. All right, chat. 45 seconds. Who wins that round? Is Brett going to tie it up? Or is Keith going to start pulling away with 2 questions left? And then if we're tied, I got to think of an 11th question. Keith. Ooh, Keith's going to pull away. You got Jake and Jello to vote. Keith said the Bills. Okay, we got 3 for Keith, 1 for Brett. All right.
There's 1 for me with Jello, so
Yeah, you got Jello's just no love tonight. All right.
Bills Mafia, let's go. Come on, guys.
It's 5-3, but I appreciate everybody voting. We got 2 more questions. This is also a weird question after week 3. Is the Cowboys defense number 1 in the NFL? Did Keith go first last time?
No, I didn't.
Oh, I did.
Okay, so Keith, are the Cowboys defense number 1 in the NFL after 3 weeks? Obviously, this is going to be a weird question, but you got 45 seconds. Time starts now.
As much as I love Micah Parsons, as much as I love what he does to an opposing team's offense, you can't say that's the case now. You can't say that's the case after the Cardinals did what they did to them. Losing Trevon Diggs it's a huge loss. It's a very understated loss because Trevon Diggs went from being a gambling cornerback, a cornerback who would try and jump routes and make interceptions, to an excellent cover cornerback, to a guy who would be content with making the smart coverage move and knocking the ball away, defending the ball rather than going for the big play, rather than going for the interception. Best defense in the NFL right now could be the Bills, could be the Jets, but it's not the Cowboys.
Great points. Brett, 45 seconds. Actually, yeah, 45 seconds. I didn't give Keith a minute. I said I was going to switch it up, but
if he has anything to add, you can give him 15 seconds added on. That's
you want more time, Keith? Want 15 more seconds?
It's all right. You can give Brett a minute. That's not a problem.
Oh, he's confident. Brett, you got 45 seconds still. Time starts now.
So I'm going to say that the Cowboys are not the best team in the NFL in terms of defense, especially after losing Trevon Diggs. I'm in agreement with Keith on that. Trevon Diggs is a ball hawking cornerback, and losing him on your team it hurts. And especially what you just said about the Cardinals and what they did as well. And the Cardinals put up 28 points on you. They're the laughing stock of the NFL right now. So I'm in agreement with you on that. You could say that it's the Bills. You could say, it's the Cowboys. You could say that it's another team, but it's definitely not the Cowboys. It's going to be the 49ers. And I absolutely love what I've seen out of the 49ers.
Great points. Chat, 45 seconds. Is Brett going to get within 1? This is for all the marbles. Even if Brett loses a round, we'll still go. Round Z is legitimate. I think the Bills are the Stillers and the Niners too. Ooh, Brett got 2. All right. 2 for Brett. Let's see. Let's see if he makes it in reach. Both great. Tied until 49ers love. Dolphins. Okay. 2-1. Better hope Jello doesn't vote Keith in the next 3 seconds. All right. Point goes to Brett. We go into the last question.
I'm bringing this to overtime, guys. You got to root me on. Come on, guys.
Chat.
I need
We're
some
gonna,
love in the chat, guys. Let's go. Come on.
we're gonna give them a minute and a half for this one, and
Whoa.
you know I'm gonna add a little bit to it.
Winner takes all.
A minute 45, and Keith went last time, right? So Brett's going first.
Yeah.
Okay. I always forget, even though it's either one or the other. I always forget. Okay. Minute and 45 seconds. Way too early MVP and defensive player of the year. Brett, time starts now. Minute and 45.
So you're putting a lot of pressure on me, but I still have to say that the defensive player of the year is going to be Micah Parsons based off of what he's done so far this year. He's looking incredible out there. Even though the defense did lose Trayvon Diggs, you got to give the respect for Micah Parsons and what he's done so far. And I think that he's going to be even better as the year goes on. He looks really good as well. And it really is going to come down to can he finish it off, and can he find a way to do that? And I think that he will be able to do that. In terms of the MVP for the year, I mean, it's really anybody's game for who can be the MVP. But I still have to say, give the credit to Patrick Mahomes. He's looking pretty good as well. And even though I'm not a Kansas City Chiefs fan, you got to throw him some love. He's coming back, and he's looking a lot better. And how can you not love Patrick Mahomes right now, especially with all the drama that's going on with Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce? It's going to be a lot of drama, and it's going to be taken off of teams like the Buffalo Bills and the Miami Dolphins. So I'm going to say that it's going to come down to Patrick Mahomes, and that's going to be the player that's going to win it. But there's some sleepers out there. You could still put Josh Allen out there. You could still put there's a few other guys that could win it. I mean, Tua's looking pretty good as well. Don't get me wrong, but it's going to be either Patrick Mahomes, or you could say Tua as well. I mean, Tua's doing great things out there as well.
All right. I hate that it has to go to a QB, but it's reality. Doesn't always have to. Someone can change the game. Someone can be a game changer. Keith, a minute 45. Time starts now.
Well, DPOY right now, it has to go to Micah Parsons. Now, I know I just spent 45 seconds disparaging the Cowboys defense and breaking them down, but you know what? They're still a formidable defense, and Micah Parsons has wrecked the Jets game. I mean, if you watch that Jets game, he just absolutely he wrecked everything they wanted to do in that entire game. And, that's what Micah Parsons does, and that's what Micah Parsons has been doing throughout his career. And it really seems like this year, his third year in the league, has become his coming out party, so to speak. And he's really starting to come into his own as a pass rusher and as a player. So right now, I am going to give the nod to Micah Parsons. And as far as MVP is concerned, right now, how could you not say Tua? I'm honestly, I'm not even. This isn't me being a homer. How could you not say Tua right now? The way he's played thus far this season, the way he lit up the Chargers, the way he lit up the Broncos, and he even played well against the Patriots. He's playing at an elite level right now, and as long as he stays healthy and continues playing the way he has been playing, the way we know he's capable of playing, he might be the MVP by season's end. Again, this Bills game is going to be a huge test for him. And if he passes this test, he'll make a believer out of me, and he's going to make a believer out of a lot of people across the national media.
Beautiful. I will agree that this is an MVP type of game. Yeah, so it'll be huge for Tua and for Josh. All right, guys, a minute. I have a minute for voting. Let's see. I need to go to the replay. Going to New York on this one, Mike. Yep. Tua will fade or be hurt in a few weeks. Mahomes will be MVP next decade. Brett got the point. Let's bring in Blandino. Now we got one for Brett. Keith gets my vote. 1-1. Brett literally said Allen has the potential to get it. I disagree. The Cowgirls keep it up. I agree with Keith, and Tua is the only clear answer. Both guys should come back. Absolutely, they will. Keith. So we got. I'm losing it here.
2-1 Keith.
We got point for Brett, point for Keith, a point for Keith. All right, 7 seconds, 5 seconds.
Come on, guys. I need one more vote, guys. Come on. Tie it up, guys. Come on.
5 more in case Mike's lagging again.
Come on, Mike.
Someone else lagging.
Anybody else lagging? Come on.
All right, got to
I
close
just
it
vote
out.
for myself, so that counts.
All right. Well,
It's tied.
Brett. Oh, Jake came in with Brett, but I can't
late.
hand it to him, Jake. You were a little bit late, but we'll have fun. Keith gets the dub because Jake was late.
But you got to throw up this comment. No.
Brett with Aaron Rodgers' performance. Well, Keith gets the dub, but we're gonna do a fun question because we got a little bit of extra time. This is just for fun. And Jake, Brett's gonna be mad at you for a couple minutes because we could have had the overtime, but the chat responded in a minute, and I gave you an extra 5 seconds too. But all right, guys, let me cook up a little question quick, and then as far as the chat goes, keep liking it up, keep showing the competitors some love. I'm always it could be a fan of the show or one of the creators in our circle. Looking for 2 debaters every week. It could be repeats as many times as you want. I just need 2 guys or girls or whoever wants to do it anytime. We don't discriminate over here. So give me a second to think of a quick question. I'm not actually writing anything down. I'm just squiggling so I can learn. Keith coming into a hostile ground and finishing strong. Yeah, back-to-back weeks, Keith did pretty good. Banana, Sub Red, White, and Bills Mafia, fins up. Thanks for tuning in, my friend. I'm sure we'll see you a lot this week. Defending champ should stay on. That's a good point. It's a good point. It's up to Keith, though. He can elect it. But all right. Easy, kind of easy question, but as of right now, after 3 weeks, which is very much early, Keith looking like his Dolphins, unbeatable for at least a few more days. Who will be representing the NFC and the AFC for the Super Bowl? Keith, you won the round.
Okay.
You got a minute? Go ahead.
All right. Well, ask me that question after week 2. I would have said the Cowboys represent the NFC. They looked like a strong team. They looked like their defense was really coming into its own. They looked like the best defense in the NFL to that question. But right now, I have to go with the 49ers. They're still undefeated. They're still looking strong. I don't think the Eagles are as good as people think they are. I just don't. And I could be wrong about that. I'm okay with being wrong about that. But right now, the NFC, I'd say the 49ers, and in the AFC, dare I say the Dolphins? Dare I say them?
You can say whatever you want, Keith.
You know what? Right now, give me the Dolphins. But after this week, I could be eating crow on that one. And if I am, then I am.
Hey, crow doesn't taste too bad if you season it correctly. All right, Brett, 60 seconds for the last fun question. Time starts now.
So I'm going to start with the AFC, and it's a dog fest. I'm not going to lie there. I mean, there's a lot of good teams in the AFC. The Chiefs look pretty good. The Dolphins are looking pretty good until this week. It's going to be their first loss of the year. They're not going to go undefeated 2 times in their franchise history. That's not going to happen. The Bills are going to put a stop to that. So I'm going to say that for the AFC right now, the front runner and who is going to represent the AFC at the end of things because of that loss against the New York Jets is going to be our Buffalo Bills. I'm going to give them all the credit that they deserve. And then for the NFC, it's really an easy one for me. Based off of what I saw against the Bucs, I wasn't confident in the Eagles. So I got to say that it's going to be Brock Purdy and the 49ers, just based off of the 49ers having their franchise quarterback. They found their franchise quarterback, and as long as he can stay healthy and he's available in the playoffs, it's going to be Brock Purdy and the 49ers.
I also agree with Matt Chatter about he despises the 49ers. I don't despise them, but they can win and get to the big game, but then you need the quarterback in the big game, and then they always fail because they don't have the quarterback. And, So, Mike, that was just a fun round because technically Brett would have tied if Jake was actually paying attention and answered on time. But
I'm just curious. Because Jake didn't answer on time. I want everybody to vote. Give him 1 minute, guys. Give him one minute. I want to see if I would have won this.
Just for fun. Just for
fun. I want to see, guys. Come on.
Brett's trying to take away Keith's dub.
I'm not taking it away. No. He won it fair and square. He's the champion. Don't get me wrong. I just want to see if I would have won it.
He's a 2-time champ, baby. See, I like that's a good response, Baker. That's a good response. Well, I would love to keep going, but we got to get them on. They got the summit coming up in a few minutes, so you got to come check them out.
We'll have to do another show one day during the week. Maybe we can make this like a regular thing that we do maybe once or twice during the week.
Yeah,
definitely. I want to at least get the debate in once, and if Keith wants to stand in every time he wins, I just need one person out of, could be a fan, it could be one of the creators, like I said, in our circle, to go against Keith. So, I mean, Jake was a good first. It was a good first round, but it was hard for me. It was just me voting, and I figured it'd be more fun live when getting the chat reaction. And
I definitely need a rematch, though. Don't get me wrong.
Hey,
I'm going to take.
You guys are always welcome. And hey, if nobody responds next week, you can oppose Keith again this next time.
No, I'm gonna call him out though. It's gonna after the Bills win, I'm gonna call him out. Okay,
that's gonna happen. But now that you guys are here, still, I'm about to wrap it up. I'm gonna go give my son dinner and then put him to bed. And then the AFC East Summit will be commencing at 8:00 at the Nickel City Mafia channel. Weekly picks. I was 12-4. Brett was 10-6. So I'm taking a commanding lead there. And I thought I had if the Jags didn't choke and the Dallas didn't choke, I would have been 14-2. And Brett would have been 12-4.
Hey,
so
if the Rams would have covered, you would have had the upset of the week. But unfortunately, the Rams couldn't get it done, and we thought that Joe Burrow was going to be out. But I mean, who would have thought that Joe Burrow was going to be out there on the field? We thought for sure that he was going to miss a couple weeks.
He still looked like shit anyway. But all right, guys, chat. That was give it up for the contenders. They did a great job. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. I love doing this debate show. Also, for fun, if the chat, anybody watching, if you want to get a hold of me somehow, either on Instagram or go into comments here, I want to have an idea for a question for next week, get a hold of me, and I'd love to start putting out some of your questions for the following week. So go over to when's the next show? Probably around the same time next week, either Tuesday evening or I'll put it out if it's not Tuesday, but let's aim for Tuesday evening around the same time. I'll let you know because my work schedule gets crazy with my business, so I'll be putting it out. But I'll see you guys before. So if you guys are watching Mad Chatter, I'll be putting out the timelines. So give it up for Brett and Keith one more time. Head over to Go Bills Podcast, subscribe to the channel. Go Nickel City Mafia, subscribe to the channel. Keith, hurry up and get your channel going, and then subscribe to Red, White, and Bills if you haven't. And we'll see you on Weekly Picks Wednesday night at 8:30 for me. And head over to the AFC Summit, Nickel City Mafia. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. Appreciate the love. Go Bills.
Go Bills.
Go fans.
Yeah, Matt Chatter, on Nickel City Mafia, we have an AFC East Summit show. Jake's going to be hosting for the Bills today. Keith's for the Dolphins, and they do a great job. So go check that out. Good job. Good game, guys.
Matt Chatter, if you send me a message on Instagram, it's the same thing. Go Bills Podcast. I'll send you the link to the Nickel City Mafia show if you need the link, but just send me a message on Instagram and I'll send it over to you.
All right, guys. Thanks again. Take it easy. Go Bills. See you next time.
Go Bills.